Hello, welcome to this update. So let's see the severe weather and some more stuff. So for today, it's still an enhanced risk, a little bit bigger there, from South Dakota to Iowa, and shows in Nebraska too and parts of southwestern Minnesota, a marginal risk in southern Arizona, a marginal from Texas to Minnesota, and northway east to Pennsylvania and down to Florida, and a slight from Kansas to Minnesota, and northway east to parts of Virginia. So the tornado threat is a wider 2% from North Dakota to Kentucky. The wind threat is the highest, 30% hatched for potential hurricane force winds, and 15% from North Dakota to North Carolina, and a 5% in southern Arizona, a 5% from Texas to Minnesota, and in the other areas there. And hail is a smaller 15%, and hatched there in parts of the plains for potential 2-inch plus, and 5% in the marginal. So be careful today there. Let's see. Another active severe weather day is expected from the northern central plains and upper Midwest into the southern Appalachians. This includes potential for large hail across parts of the northern central plains, aside from more prevalent risk of damaging winds, some which could be significantly strong. So please be careful with the storms this afternoon and evening. They could be like significantly strong, like they said there. So let's see the latest model. So this is the HER. We have that line of storms there now. And then later, by this afternoon, it starts showing those stronger storms in Nebraska, some severe storms there, and then they continue into southwestern Minnesota. And then some other storms pop in northern Kansas and Nebraska, going to Iowa. And that main line that formed first is still going in Minnesota there. And it keeps going towards Wisconsin and joins with that other line of storms in Iowa there by tonight. So be aware there. But the HERS highlighting more potential in South Dakota there for the worst storms. But they have here like the worst through Iowa, southwestern Minnesota, and South Dakota. Yeah, the same general area. But the thing different is that the HERS taking the storms to Minnesota later and not taking them down to Iowa, where the rest of the enhanced risk is. But then these other storms form later in Nebraska and go into Iowa there with a lot of strength. So please be careful in those areas. And some storms in the northeast too this afternoon, a storm or two there in New England. And then it shows more storms in Georgia and Florida this afternoon, especially northern Florida and Georgia. And shows the storms in southern Arizona there, some slightly stronger ones in Mexico too. And yeah, be careful there. So let's see. For tomorrow is a slight risk again in parts of Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, northern Kentucky, and a marginal from southeastern Minnesota to North Carolina. Tornado threat is a 2% in parts of the Midwest tomorrow. Wind threat is 15 and 5% there, and hail is a smaller 5%. So be aware tomorrow and the general risk of thunderstorms. Let's see. Severe thunderstorms are possible in portions of the Great Lakes, Ohio Valley on Thursday, so be aware there. And for Friday, another marginal risk in parts of the east from Indiana to North Carolina and some other areas there. So probabilistic 5% and general risk of thunderstorms still in parts of the west and most of the east. So let's see. Scare strong to occasionally severe storms are possible Friday in the Ohio-Tennessee Valley and Atlantic coast. So be aware there. Let's see here. Something else. So the fire threat is elevated today, and tomorrow they don't have anything yet. So today they have parts of Colorado, Kansas, southwestern Nebraska, and southeastern Wyoming, and some areas there. So be aware. Let's see. And for tomorrow they don't have anything yet. So let's see, they have some discussions there for some storms with some flash flood potential, And some things about the heat wave there. Heat building in the west, and the extremes heat risk in parts of the south and the central areas there, and the majors. So be careful with that heat there and the extreme heat risk. So it shows there the map for today, for tomorrow, for after tomorrow. Precipitation for today, more there in the storms and in the southeast and northeast. For tomorrow, more in parts of Midwest, Ohio Valley, in the southeast and the southwest. For Friday, more across the east there, some areas. For Saturday, more in the east and especially the northeast. For Sunday, shows more along the east than the northeast and some areas of the plains in the west. For Monday, shows more in the Midwest, southeast and some areas. Next Tuesday, shows more in the Midwest, the west and some areas there. Days 1 through 7, a lot in the northeast. In Florida, the Bahamas, shows more in the Ohio Valley, parts of the Midwest and in the west. So be aware. Excessive rainfall, a slight in Arizona and a marginal in New Mexico and Arizona for flash flood potential. Be careful. A marginal from North Dakota to northern Florida. Be aware. A slight from Minnesota to Tennessee, and a slight in New Hampshire and Vermont, and a marginal from Pennsylvania to Maine. So be aware today. For Thursday, tomorrow, a slight in Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, and Kentucky, and a marginal from Virginia to Wisconsin, and a marginal from California to Oklahoma, parts of Colorado, Arizona, New Mexico, and West Texas. And for Friday, shows a marginal from California to Colorado, and a marginal from Tennessee to New York. Day 4 shows a marginal in Arizona, Colorado, and New Mexico, and another marginal from South Carolina to New Hampshire. For Sunday, shows another marginal in Arizona, New Mexico, Colorado, and Utah, and another marginal in Montana, and a marginal from Virginia to Maine. So be aware there. Let's see some temperatures. So today still in the hundreds in parts of the plains there, some 105, 103. Please be careful. 110, 109 in the southwest, some 90s maybe, and 100 or 2 in the west. In the southeast, some 90s there. Let's see. For tomorrow, shows more 100s in the plains, more 90s through the southeast, the east, all the way to the Midwest and northeast. So 90s, even 100 in Tennessee, in the southwest, and more heat in the west building the 100s there. For Friday, shows more 100s in the northern plains, more 100s in the southwest, 100s in Washington, Oregon, Idaho, California, Utah, and Nevada. So especially Nevada, and shows more 100s in Oklahoma, Kansas, and Texas still, and more 90s in the southeast. For Saturday, shows more 100s in the south, in Texas, Oklahoma, more in the northern plains, more in the southwest, the west, more 90s in the southeast. For Sunday, shows more 90s and 100s in the plains through the south, so 90s in the southeast, 100s in the southwest, and other parts of the west. For Monday, shows more 100s in the plains in the southwest and other parts of the west, so 90s and 100s, and 90s in the southeast and parts of the east. For next Tuesday, day 7, shows more 100s still in the plains there, still some 90s in the southeast and east, some 100s in the southwest and some 90s in the west, and some 70s and some 80s in the north. So be aware. Let's see the 24-hour max wind gusts for today, for Wednesday, so valid until tomorrow at 9 a.m. Let's see, shows windier in southern Arizona, California, more windier in parts of the plains, in Wyoming, some areas there in Texas, Oklahoma, some gusty winds. And this is not even considering the severe weather, because when those storms pass through there, there'll be very stronger winds, potentially into the 60s and 70s miles per hour, or even stronger with some of those storms today. So be careful. Let's see. And the hazards, this change all the time, but let's see. Some blowing dust advisories in southern Arizona there. Let's see. And some dense smoke advisories in parts of Nevada and California. And from the fires there, especially that big fire in Northern California has been terrible there. Please be safe and check my community posts to see some news on the fire. And they have some heat warnings and advisories all throughout the central areas in the south, through the east and Florida too, some excessive heat watches in the west, and air quality advisories in the gray for the wildfires. Let's see some stuff in Alaska. And now for Canada, let's take a look what they currently have. And so they have some heat warnings still in Ontario there. Shows a heat event today, 29 to 31 degrees, lasting until like Friday and Thursday. Let's see, more heat there. Heat warnings in Ontario. Let's see, more heat warnings there. And some fog advisories, mainly this morning, so it will dissipate later this morning, southern Ontario. Some more, let's see, some more special weather statements for heat in Quebec there, in some areas. Some heat warnings in southern Ontario there, for 30 to 32 degrees, the warmest daytime temperatures. Some hot and humid advisories for parts of Labrador. Some heat warnings in Newfoundland too. Some heat warnings, very hot and humid, to 28 to 31 degrees, like until Thursday night. And let's see in Alberta, some air quality advisories in Alberta for the smoke and the wildfires. More heat warnings in southern Alberta there, 29 to 33 degrees. And this heat is expected to be prolonged, lasting until like early next week, and shows more air quality advisories in Alberta and more air quality statements in British Columbia there. So be careful. The Western Territories, more air quality advisories. Let's see, and all the way northern Nunavut shows a wind warning there. Northern Nunavut, strong winds will weaken tonight, close to 90 kilometers per hour. So be careful there. And then I found this thunderstorm outlooks here. So like potential thunderstorm outlook. So this is for today in British Columbia. So let's see, day 2 here. So now it's today. So it shows the grays like minor thunderstorm probabilities, shows in parts of southern central British Columbia, but especially like some areas of northern and central British Columbia. And the thunderstorm outlook for parts of central Canada. So for today they have some yellows there, potentially some moderate thunderstorms possible, some wind, heavy rain and small hail. So be aware there. Let's see, so this is today, and tonight still show some minor probabilities there, mainly for rainfall. Let's see, for tomorrow show some minor probabilities for thunderstorms with some wind and rainfall there, parts of central Canada. And then in the prairies there shows more probability in northern Alberta there, potentially some moderate there. Thunderstorms in northern Alberta show some minor for parts of Saskatchewan and Alberta in some areas. So let's see, and also some moderate storm probabilities in southern Manitoba there, some minor probabilities in other areas. So let's see, for Ontario, so they have some minor thunderstorm probabilities for for today in parts of southern Ontario. There are some minor storm probabilities, but mainly for western Ontario they have some moderate thunderstorm probabilities. There are some outlooks for like some wind, hail, and maybe a funnel cloud or two, but mainly wind, hail, and heavy rain. So be aware. And let's see, for tomorrow, they still have some other thunderstorm probabilities there through Ontario, and some minor probabilities in other areas. For for Atlantic Canada, they have in Labrador some minor storm probabilities for let's see here for today. There in Newfoundland too, some storm probabilities in parts of New Brunswick. For tomorrow, they still have some. Wait. Yes, so they don't have tomorrow yet. And for Quebec, they have some minor storm probabilities today there, but some models are indicating some stronger storms there today, especially the her here. So let's see. So this is Wednesday. It still shows a lot of storms there and rain through Quebec, and then they keep going there, dissipating a little bit, but potentially stronger this afternoon in eastern Quebec there. Show some stronger ones through southern Quebec, northeastern U.S. too, and then into tomorrow, Thursday, they kind of go into Atlantic Canada and dissipate. And in the prairies there, shows some stronger storms today, Western Ontario, because that very vigorous line forms in the U.S. there, and some storms head towards Ontario, and then they keep going. So this is late this afternoon into this evening. Some storms already, but they will continue into tomorrow in Ontario there. So be aware in some other areas, very little stuff. So let's see here some things. So this area here, as I said, was Central Canada, like Max and him. That area is like the Western Territories there in some other areas. So sorry, I didn't know where that was. I think it's like near the Northwestern Territories and some areas there. So for that area, they have a moderate thunderstorm outlook for today, and some minors there along with northern Alberta there. So yeah, be aware. Let's see, like I said, some other things. So for Western Canada, so where's the European? So in Western Canada, we still have some rain there in British Columbia, and some storms later today in Alberta and those areas there. And then that system goes, and by Thursday, tomorrow, still some showers and maybe some storms, maybe some snow in the mountains there. And let's see, where is it? Central Canada, it shows the storms there today and later this afternoon into tomorrow there, and the other system coming from the west tomorrow with some more storms there, going through Hudson Bay and later into Quebec by this weekend, and shows some other systems later by Monday and next Tuesday. So let's see for Eastern Canada, the Euro has those storms in Quebec today, so shows lots of storms in Quebec there, more storms in Labrador, so be aware there. And tomorrow, Thursday, those storms keep going and exit there. But maybe Friday, some more storms in some areas. Saturday, maybe a storm or two and some rain. Sunday, it shows some other systems back there, maybe some other storms in southern Quebec in some areas. By next Monday, the other system leaves there, and maybe some other systems coming later next week. But yeah, this is mainly it. Let's see some temperatures really quick. It shows today into the high 20s and 30s in Saskatchewan. In Manitoba shows it in the high 20s there. Let's see, in Ontario shows potentially into the 30s in parts of Ontario there. And let's see, Thursday still warm there and warmer in the west. Let's see, Friday still a similar thing, warmer in the west there. Potentially Friday more than 36 degrees in southern Saskatchewan. Shows Saturday a little bit less, but still warm there in the west. Sunday still warm there, but nothing crazy. A little bit less warm in the east, still some high 20s in the west. So yeah, this is mainly it. And we have that trough in the east and that high pressure warming things up in the west. So yeah, this is mainly it. Stay safe from the storms today there in the U.S. and also Canada. And thanks for